And we are back with the Mr. Robot spoiler review. Happy 5/9, ladies and gentlemen. In the spoiler-free video, I mostly talked about positives, but now I'll also be nitpicking quite a bit because I love the program and it's fun complaining about things I enjoy. If you want to discuss anything I say further, you can leave a comment or message me on Discord at an idiot on the internet. To start us off, let's talk about the casual coffee conversation. My favorite part would be when you see Ron realize that he might be able to manipulate Elliot.
How did he, boss?
Then my second favorite is when it seems like Mastermind might let him go.
It's okay, Rohit. You don't have to worry anymore.
And I enjoyed this line simply because it's funny.
I mean, I don't jerk off to little kids, but...
It's an extremely well-written exchange and a great way to kick off Elliot's vigilante activities. All that positive shit being said, I wish there was more moral ambiguity to it. I get that him taking down a pedo is partially to get us on Elliot's side as quickly as possible, and it works. It's just very one-dimensional. No one in their right mind would root for Ron, and I wish it was something not unforgivable, and in that more forgivable situation, Ron, who seems like a smart guy, had a better explanation for it.
That's my personal life.
Then there's the last line.
I don't give a shit about money.
It's a nice ending bit, but it reminds me of the end of True Detective episode 1 in the sense that it feels like a TV line.
And start asking the right fucking questions.
But, as I said, I do enjoy it overall. I also enjoyed the Fuck Society scene and the fact that the series creator is just chilling on the subway. Next, I love how Tyrell is juxtaposed against Colby and how they make him stand out immediately with only a few lines. This is continued in the meeting where they make him stand out with no lines since he's the only one who notices the switch. Then in episode 2, we meet the hopeless romantic, Vera. First off, I'd like to point out that this actor is amazing and sounds totally different in real life.
It just has these turns. You don't see them coming. They hit you to the core, makes you laugh.
Second, we get what I believe is our first big hint towards the endgame, aka the real Elliot being locked up.
Well, you ain't never Googled it? And you gotta do that. The meaning of a person's name is important, bro.
An Alderson loop means a version of an infinite loop where an exit condition is available, but you can't get to it in the current implementation of the code. Of course, I'm a retard, so I thought it meant this Elliot, aka Mastermind, was going through the events of the show over and over again, and when White Rose seemed confused that Angela was alive, I thought the loop had been disrupted. Then when Elliot re-entered Allsafe, me and the boys started popping champagne, then put it away because we were wrong. I haven't seen this scene get discussed too much, but it sums up Angela's nature brilliantly. She tries to do the right thing and fucks everything up.
That was your wallet? Yes, that was my wallet you just gave him.
This part in episode 4 is amazing and introduces us to my favorite track of the show, Better Than Morphine.
What'd you just say? Tyrell, as in Tyrell Welling?
Conversely, I don't love this scene. It plays like something out of a middle-of-the-road gangster movie, and Mr. Robot is usually very good at delivering exposition, so it's noticeable when it's clunky.
You tweeted about every transaction your business was involved in. That is the opposite of careful. It's no wonder an anonymous tip turned you in.
I would have written it where a guy from Coach Carter says, "Someone's gonna get hurt for this," followed by the lawyer saying in a snarky tone, "It was an anonymous tip." Then Vera goes into thought about who it could be instead of this interaction.
Who called in the tip?
This is what is meant by anonymous.
Conversely, I think episode 6 is one of the greatest episodes of anything ever. Elliot and Vera have a conversation about Shayla, then it cuts to the trunk where Shayla is, but we don't know that yet. Mr. Alderson faces a hard decision, and I gotta be honest, I kinda like binary choices IRL. Back when I was in high school, I fancied this girl who had recently broken up with her boyfriend. Me and my friends held an emergency board meeting to decide if I should go for it straight away or give her some time to get over it. I'm a huge fan of any type of procrastination, so I voted that I should wait, and most of the lads agreed with me. But me and the girl already sort of knew each other, so we started texting and stuff. At a certain point, she stopped messaging first, so I decided to risk it for the biscuit and told her that I liked her while me and the boys were at the BK Lounge. After a really long 2 minutes, she texted back and said that she had fancied me, but now she was seeing someone else, and she would love it if we could be friends. However, 1 year later, we got into the same group in art class. I jokingly asked her if she was single this time. She said yes, and we started dating. As you would expect, I was pretty happy with this outcome because I screwed everything up and still ended up with her. But when a reversal happens like that in entertainment, it feels like a cop-out. So this is going to sound twisted, but I'm glad Shayla died. Not only does it solidify Vera as a seemingly unbeatable villain, it lets you know what the stakes are and that these choices matter. The way it's shot is amazing as well, focusing on Elliot's reaction and gathering as much tension as possible before showing us what he sees. I also like that the intro of the next episode makes it clear that Shayla probably would have been fine if not for Elliot, and it is Elliot's fault. One thing that I'm curious about though, does Mr. Robot telling Elliot that Shayla was doomed mean that some part of Elliot knew she was dead? Also, Vera said he would hug Elliot when he saw him, but he never ends up doing that, so does that mean him killing Shayla was his version of a hug? I don't know. Maybe it's not that deep and he got distracted, but if you want more of Elliot and Shayla, there's a VR thing you can watch on YouTube. Next, let's talk about the TellTale game since it takes place around this time. More or less, you pick up a phone and Darlene starts texting you. You talk to Elliot a bit as well. It sort of takes place in real time, so Darlene will text you. You'll have some choices. You text her back. You talk for a while, then you have to wait for her to text again. The writers did an amazing job with it, and Darlene in show and Darlene on phone talk exactly the same. But since TellTale went under, it has been unlisted most official places, so if you haven't downloaded it already, you'll have to look for it. I have a strange feeling that you can still find the Android version somewhere, but that could just be the corona. Going back to the show, I think a lot of us were caught off guard by the darkness of this scene.
If you died, would anyone care?
But Bill's actor posted on the Mr. Robot subreddit and said he loved filming it because he knew he had nailed it, so dicks out for my man Bill. Next is the murder of Sharon Knowles, which means we are now at the irresponsible armchair psychology portion of the review. So I think Tyrell has an extreme, unmedicated version of borderline personality disorder. There are 9 criteria for this disorder, and to get officially diagnosed with it, you need at least 5, aka 5'9". I'll show all 9 on screen for a second, but I feel like I can only prove 5, and I will be paraphrasing quite a bit. First would be a pattern of unstable, intense relationships that alternate between idealization and devaluation, which would explain why he loves Elliot despite barely knowing him.
I love him.
Then the devaluation comes later.
But now I see how foolish I was and how inferior you are. Like a fucking cockroach.
Apparently, lads and ladies with this disorder also usually come to believe that the people around them don't give a shit.
You honestly don't care about me, do you?
Second is dissociative feelings. Severe cases of stress can lead to brief psychotic episodes.
Get off of me!
Third would be frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment by friends and family. Fourth is impulsive behaviors that can have dangerous outcomes. Fifth would be distorted and unstable self-image, which can involve rapidly shifting goals and moods.
I love this company.
You're smart enough to know that this hack alone isn't gonna kill Evil Corp. Once they realize they can't recover the data, they'll figure out a way to recreate it. And that's where you'll need me.
A possible sixth would be inappropriate, intense, or uncontrollable anger. Some sources state it can involve physical fights, so it would fit. However, the often followed by shame and guilt would not fit, so I'm iffy on it, but then again, often doesn't mean always. If you Google narcissistic personality disorder, you'll see that Tyrell also displays some of those traits, like looking down on and screwing over others. He also has a grand sense of self, which can be a borderline trait as well. From what I've read, these things tend to overlap, so you can have borderline personality disorder with narcissistic traits, or vice versa. However, if you choose to believe he has narcissistic personality disorder with borderline traits, I don't blame you. But to me, borderline explains his premature love for Elliot and the out-of-nowhere murder of Sharon Knowles better than NPD. A counter-argument against BPD would be the long-term marriage between he and his wife, but apparently the way it works is, a person with BPD desperately wants love and validation, but if you give them that, they start to feel trapped, so they push you away. The situation between Tyrell and Mama Tyrell is actually perfect for him, because he seems to be always fighting for her validation, even on their first date.
I asked him what he would do to get me those earrings. He told me he would do whatever was necessary.
Apparently, personality disorders can get kicked off by childhood trauma sometimes, so it makes me wonder what exactly happened with him and his dad.
Do you hate your father?
Yeah. I'd like to close this segment by reiterating that I am an idiot without a psychology degree, and you should take this all with 15 truckloads of salt. It should also go without saying that most people with BPD aren't going around killing people or blowing up buildings. I've said this 2 reviews in a row now, and quite frankly, I'm sick of all the positivity, but I teared up when it showed the pictures of Elliot's dad. It's a really, really, really well done scene that pump fakes the hell out of you. I still thought at the time that Mr. Robot was in his head, but I wanted him to be real because it was so clear that he was fake. He made it past the keycard locked door at Allsafe. Romero doesn't look at him in episode 1, and he happens to show up at the perfect times. Besides that, I was hoping he was alive because it would have altered Elliot's motivations. His whole thing is, I hate Evil Corp because they killed Daddy, so if Dad is really a troll god and still alive, it changes everything. Plus, imagine the twist in season 4 where it turns out Edward molested him if Edward is still alive and in the room. But because it was so obvious Papa Alderson is fake, and it seems like most people, were blindsided by the Darlene reveal. The overly familiar as soon as they meet you girls an established trope at this point, and Sam used it to disguise the twist pretty expertly. And skipping the night of the hack to give us bits and pieces over time was a stroke of genius as well. Now we've arrived at the part where pretty much everyone stopped watching, season 2. But before we get into that, let me direct your attention to a website you may not know about, WellickSightings.com. Here are a list of sightings with Mr. Tyrell Wellick, with the most credible by far being this one, which states Tyrell was seen riding the monorail at Disneyland. There's also one claiming he was at the Empire State Building with black dreadlocks. That sounds like Tyrell. If you have any idea where Mr. Wellick currently resides, please leave it in the comment section below or call this number, 202-639-8700. Order a cheeseburger with no cheese and they'll connect you to my team. I should also tell you that Sharon Knowles is married to Sick Boy in real life, so Spud and Tyrell exist in the same universe now, and no one can tell me otherwise. Going back to the actual show, I love Elliot's narration here, and I think it's some of the best of the series.
But I'm gonna ask you to have hope for me anyway.
And I love that Gideon was killed by a crazy person. I'm not sure what more his character could have done for the story, and similar to Shayla's death, it drives home the fact that this shit matters. Colonel Panic is one of my favorite episodes, and I also enjoy the casualness of the shooting with the foreshadowing from this innocent FBI girl.
I had that dream again. Except this time, I was walking down a steep hill, and at the bottom was that same man wearing a surgical mask.
However, I do find some of the plotline with Ray to be pretty cliche and generic. Ray approaches Elliot all nice and tells him, "Whatever you do, don't look at this one thing, haha." Then of course Elliot looks and it's bad. We also get a scene before that with Ray confronting old IT guy, so it's not a surprise or a twist. That being said, this meandering shot is sick as hell, and the end of the arc with Ray letting Elliot turn him in is pretty good. And there's also the fact that Ray's guys beating up Elliot leads to one of the best sequences of the series. I also gotta say that Christian Slater's acting is fantastic in this scene, especially considering he's lying.
I didn't want to, but I shot him.
I alluded to it in my spoiler-free review, but I'm not impressed by the prison reveal. The only thing that really changed was Elliot's mom wasn't there, and we didn't get any scenes of them talking anyway. It would have been cool if they would have had this big scene where they made up and she told Elliot she always loved him. Then we get the twist and it turns out this happy moment of catharsis didn't even happen. It could make the conversation between Elliot and his mom at the end of the series more powerful, or it could make it redundant. Depends on how it's written, probably. But the reveal that Leon was Dark Army was pretty sweet.
Gonna get a letter on Tuesday. Do what it says.
The scene from outside the restaurant is brilliant. It's shot in the best way possible, and you know they're screwed as soon as the bike shows up. Only thing I would change is I would have gone to credits, then have the shooting take place so you can't even see what happened. Angela gets picked up by the Dark Army. Some person who's smarter than me noticed those people were in the background of some of Angela's other scenes as well, and the poster next to Angela is a nice touch. Following that, I feel like this scene lost a lot of people, but I enjoyed it because it added more mystique to both White Rose and the Dark Army in general. Same can be said for the Red Wheelbarrow bit, specifically what Elliot states here.
You're only seeing what's in front of you. You're not seeing what's above you.
That piece of dialogue got dissected to death and uses evidence for a simulation. Some people thought this was the third altar before we found out about Mastermind. In the end, it was just a cool line. Kind of disappointing, but it's alright. In season 1, we got pump faked that Mr. Robot was real, so of course we and Elliot get pump faked here that Tyrell is fake and he's actually real. I'm sad Elliot got shot, but also happy upon first viewing that handsome as hell Tyrell wasn't dead, because I thought that would be killing him off too early. That's the end of installment 2, but something you can check out at this point is the Red Wheelbarrow Book. It serves as a companion piece for the season. It's mostly Elliot using it as a journal with commentary from Hot Carla and interruptions from Mr. Robot. There's also hidden messages and puzzles, so it's basically as deep as you want to go with it. If you're a Leon fan, Elliot talks about Leon talking about television some more, so that's pretty entertaining. However, there's nothing indispensable to the plot, so you can skip it if you want. I'm just glad it exists and you can read Elliot's thoughts / see his doodles. So season 3 is my favorite, but this scene puzzles me. We didn't see any violent tendencies or mental problems with Barman Dude Man before this, so it kind of seems to happen out of nowhere. He got upset when Joanna got beat up, but to me that feels like a fairly normal reaction, and he seemed to even feel bad about their BDSM stuff.
I do okay, I didn't hurt you too bad, right?
They also mentioned that the driver guy ended up surviving, but we don't see or hear about him again, so the whole thing feels weird. To go back to being positive, in episode 3 we finally get what happened the night of the hack, and it's so good.
Please, we should talk about this.
Tyrell, of course, takes this as a sign that they're meant to work together. It's such a bizarre simulation-esque event, I almost can't blame him. I've seen episode 3 get shit on because it's a flashback episode, but I don't agree with that shitting at all. It does exactly what a good flashback episode should do and fills in multiple gaps in the story, plus gives us new information about Irving and FBI Man. Then we arrive at the beginning of the Perfection Trifecta, episode 5. I love almost everything about it, the music at the beginning, the glitching sounds to let us know how Elliot feels, and the weird German guy.
Aller Anfang ist schwer.
There was a bit of fighting over the translation, but I believe it's something like, every beginning is difficult. To begin is easy. Perseverance is an art. I deeply enjoy how almost no announced scheme in Mr. Robot goes according to plan, similar to A Song of Ice and Fire, and Elliot erroneously targets a sassy, savvy sniffer. I do wish the tense music and people fighting in the lobby would have lasted longer. I probably watched that part 15 times. And once again, the extra effort Sam puts in takes the show from a 9.5 to an 11 out of 10. You can see Elliot behind Angela, running for the win. I'm having too much fun with this. Alexa, play the worst moment of my life.
I'm just gonna go for a walk.
As far as the one-shot aspect of it is concerned, this YouTube man said he found 30 possible places for hidden cuts, so shout out to Sam once again for making it look so good. I also love Sandwich just chilling in the aftermath. Jay suggested a spinoff with him, and I'm 100% down for that. Next is episode 6, and I think given time this will go down as an iconic episode of television. Since I have a crush on him, the main thing that kept me tense was the uncertainty over what was going on with Tyrell. I thought they were about to murk my boy. And my boy thought they were gonna murk my boy.
You're not going to kill me?
There's also a bit of humor to balance things out, and the ending is simply masterful. The happy music, Elliot's speech, the euphoric sense of victory. Then you start to realize something's wrong and finally get the reveal.
It wasn't a single point of failure. I was.
I'm glad that it's not some grandiose montage of buildings falling down. We see it on TV instead, which makes it seem more real. Similar to the situation with Shayla, I like that it's Elliot's fault, so he has to emotionally deal with it. If he had just done nothing and let them blow up the New York facility, he would have saved a shit ton of people. But to be fair to him, there's no way he could have known that. Switching to Angela, I feel as if her entire life accidentally programmed her for this moment. She took the wrong message from the self-help tapes.
My beliefs create my own reality.
Her dying mom planted the idea that there's another world while trying to comfort her, and it's so twisted that a beautiful moment with a well-meaning parent made her vulnerable. Then White Rose finished the job and brainwashed her. Something that tripped me out was the girl from season 2 and young Angela were played by the same actress. It heavily suggested that White Rose could actually time travel, which I thought was cool as shit. But then I realized White Rose probably fucked her memory up somehow, and Angela now remembers her younger self as that girl. I'm also not a huge fan of Papa Alderson sitting so close to Angela, knowing what we know about him now. Someone left a really good comment on my previous video asking me to think about why I disliked Angela. I pondered it, I've considered it, I've ran it by the team. And she's my least favorite character because I don't think she's entertaining on a moment-to-moment basis until season 3, episode 5. I also don't like the way she treats people.
I don't know who you think you're talking to, but I'll try the Pradas next.
Conversely, Tyrell is my favorite because he is consistently entertaining and owns being a bad guy. Going back to Angie, in episode 7, we get one of the most heartbreaking scenes in a series full of heartbreaking scenes.
Everyone's okay again. Everyone's gonna be okay.
I said in my spoiler-free review that 9/11 didn't happen on the show because I thought I had read that from an official source. However, I can't find that source now if it ever existed, so that's my bad for stating it as if it were a fact. That being said, I still believe it didn't happen in Robot World since it and the Department of Homeland Security that was formed because of it are never mentioned. Moving on, the way the sequence is cut together is just mean. In the moment, it gives you a flicker of hope Trenton and Mobley can be saved, but if you pay attention, you can see sunlight coming through the window to let you know they're already fucked. Leon's laid-back attitude towards them tricked me into thinking they were safe, and I'm very upset Mobley will never get to meet his J-Date. In the next episode, Elliot receives an email from Trenton because she trusted him, and I don't understand why she trusts him specifically. It could be that sometimes when people don't know you that well, they give you more credit than you deserve because they don't know your faults, but I think something that could have made more of a bond between them would be if Elliot went and saw her at school instead of Darlene, or maybe if he talked to her at some point, because I don't think they have a one-on-one conversation the entire series. Elliot also prepares to off himself this episode, and if someone watching this is thinking about self-deleting, you should reach out to someone about it. You'll initially probably get told it gets better and other trite bullshit, but eventually someone will accidentally say something that helps you. It's always something retarded too, so I'm glad some movie moment with the sweeping orchestra isn't what saved Elliot Alderson. It was essentially a kid heckling him.
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
The aspect ratio switch is cool as well, and I've seen some discussion on whether or not the kid was even with Elliot or a hallucination. I believe he was real. Next thing, it was way too easy for Elliot to hack the Dark Army. I've seen some try to defend it by arguing that White Rose planned for that to happen, but there's no direct evidence for that. It's also somewhat predictable that Irving was going to kill Santiago, but it's so gosh darn entertaining, I don't care. Now, let's discuss the speculated behind-the-scenes drama. Rami Malek and Portia Doubleday were in a romantic relationship, but during the filming of Bohemian Rhapsody, which won the Academy Award for Best Editing, Rami broke up with her and started dating one of his co-stars from that film. Then, at the start of season 4, Angela immediately gets gunned down in the background like a sad hound, and in this bit where her and Elliot are Skyping, it's not Elliot in the playback, but Daredevil Sam Esmail LARPing as Elliot. This has led me and others to childishly speculate that Portia did not want to work with Rami after they broke up, which, quite frankly, isn't any of our business. But it does make me wonder if her intended storyline was different and Sam had to make do with what he had. Portia apparently also brought up equal pay, and some people thought she got axed because of that, but I think in this day and age that'd be a pretty big scandal. And I'm not sure why Sam would alter the entire plot of the show in the last season to avoid paying someone. Back to the show, the David Fincher-esque split-second shot of Angela's corpse is pretty sick, then my boy Sam gets his best cameo yet.
Goodbye, friend.
The Elliot death fake-out is yet another brilliant stroke in a series of brilliant strokes, and overall it's one of the best season premieres I've ever seen. But later on, I don't know how I feel about Janice killing FBI man because Dom said 99.9% instead of 100. It's simultaneously badass and sort of silly. This is tough to talk about, but in episode 4, my favorite character takes a bullet.
Gotta get you to the hospital, man.
I believe the mysterious blue light in the woods was to pump fake us once again, this time to make viewers think the F-Corp universe was real once we got to that, and that Tyrell is getting whisked away to it ahead of time, which completely worked with a shit ton of people thinking that. Or it could be what this Reddit guy said and it was a Vonnegut reference. I'm going to sound pretentious, but I'll go ahead and read that. His attention began to swing grandly through the full arc of his life, passing into death, which was violet light. There was just violet light and a hum. The dude didn't specify which episode that quote was from, and I'm not even sure that quote was in the show, but Leon references that author later in season 4, so it'd still be sort of related. There's also the theory that it was hunting equipment, and it is possible that some hunter heroically ran out of nowhere and saved my boy. The creature noises get closer as Tyrell approaches, so it very well could be a trap that caught an animal. I'll go ahead and play that. I think the scene is a culmination of everything I just listed, and people can make up their own mind about exactly what happened. As far as him being alive or dead, I feel like the most likely explanation is that he died. I know some were underwhelmed by the way he went out, but for a guy who constantly disappears, reappears, might be fake, is actually real. I think his role ending with an air of uncertainty was a fitting way to do it. That being said, I wanted him to live throughout the entire series, so I'm as salty as anyone. Going forward, the connection between Elliot and Olivia is extremely well done, and I hate it. We have two damaged people that under any other circumstances could have had a supportive relationship, but it's Mr. Robot, so she hates him now, and rightfully so. Her suicide attempt because of Elliot is one of the saddest moments ever. Alexa, play something happy to get me back in the game.
Tell us something your mum doesn't know. Yeah.
Episode 7 is pretty much perfect. Writing, acting, music, the traumatic, traumatizing reveal of the source of Elliot's trauma, and I'm quite glad they held commercials. I'm fairly certain this was planned from the beginning as well, since the key from season 1 episode 4 comes back. It also explains Elliot taking down pedos, no touching, and the dissociative identity disorder itself. Bear got what he deserved, since it was made clear that he was still manipulating Elliot when he repeated the line from the bully story.
I see you now.
But I do kind of wish he had played a larger part in the season, and I don't like that he died from being stabbed in the back. Mr. Robot's sudden deaths work very well sometimes, and sometimes it feels like Sam going, fuck it, might as well kill them. Ismail strikes me as the type of dude who would meet a shamelessly beautiful girl, make her fall in love with him, have a happy marriage for 10 years, then wake up one day and say, LOL, trolled ya, and fire a bazooka at the house. A hooligan on the last video said that Price wasn't a badass, so I'm going to make an argument as to why I believe he is. He was put in a position where he was being pressured to resign and flipped it. He has some of the best quotes of the series.
I will reign chaos.
And he had the perfect line when he pulled one over on the Time Master.
Think of it this way, Jane. You didn't lose the game. You just ran out of time.
It is true that he got owned by White Rose, but in my opinion, he got her back. Next, let's go on to the airplane theory, which states that Dom and our Darlene will die in a plane crash. This theory came to be because a few scenes with Darlene have planes in them, this one being the most ominous. To add on to that, there's a bit with Dom where there's a singer who died in a plane crash in the background. There's also the fact that White Rose had the last E-Corp CEO murked in a plane crash. Additionally, there's some turns of phrase like crash with a friend upstate and referring to Darlene as a flight risk. However, people say that shit all the time, so I think that's the weakest part of an already weak theory, but the validity of the theory isn't what's important. The idea originated on the Mr. Robot subreddit, which Sam is certainly aware of, since he posts there occasionally.
And I was like, fuck the man.
With all that as background, the end of episode 10 feels like a playful troll aimed at the subreddit. I knew about the theory before the episode, and I was nervous as fuck when we were watching Dom sleep on the plane. The way the credits start, but you can still hear the episode, I thought we'd hear an explosion or some ominous noise. Irving also happens to be at that particular airport, which is weird, and there's tons of, is Darlene going to get on the plane? Is Dom? My one complaint would be Dom, suspicious FBI agent who got a triple kill earlier, believes Irving when he tells her the Dark Army isn't after them. The conclusion of the episode plays like a sad ending, but them barely missing each other is actually a happy ending long term. Dom learns to let go and get some sleep, and Darlene learns that she can be okay by herself. I might be in the minority here, but I believe the D&D combo had too much baggage between them to have a healthy relationship anyway. If I was Dom, I wouldn't be able to let go of the fact that Darlene slept with me to try to get my key card, and it might cause a tiny rift in the relationship if Dom finds out Darlene murdered someone. Dom, as a character, ran the risk of coming off as a strong, independent woman who don't need no man, but her social awkwardness mixed with her late-night loneliness made her one of my favorite characters. And shout out to Meryl Streep's daughter for playing her wonderfully. In the following episode, we get one of the coolest sequences of all time as Elliot re-enters Allsafe and encounters a seemingly self-aware, but not actually, Tyrell. But before that, Elliot and White Rose have a philosophical standoff.
You want to destroy it because you hate people for what they've done to you. And you can't look past that to actually see the good in it.
I get what White Rose is talking about. It seems like no matter who you are, someone will randomly appear to tell you that you suck. I understand what Elliot is saying too, but I'm not sure why he is saying it, since pretty much everyone in his life fucked him over at some point. His dad molested him, Mom abused him, Angela toyed with his feelings and ultimately rejected him, Darlene informed on him to the FBI, Ray had him beat up, Gideon cared about him but died. Only person he really still has is Darlene, and she's not great. She called Cisco the love of her life after he died, but when he was alive, she used him. As I've already mentioned, she literally screwed Dom too. And when Elliot is aghast at her murdering a person, she replies,
I knew you wouldn't get it.
Regarding whether or not the machine works, I think White Rose is a crazy person and it does not. We have no hard evidence to the contrary. There's just Angela, who is most likely brainwashed because she's gullible, and the conversation between her and Irving where he sort of talks around the question.
Did White Rose ever show you?
Yes.
And you believe in it?
Take a look at technology nowadays. I think anything is possible.
But if Irving is even telling the truth and he really did see something, young Irving and White Rose had a relationship according to him, so there's a strong chance she brainwashed him too. There is this scene though.
In fact, it was his great engineering work that led to some of our early successes.
However, we don't know what those successes were, and even if they have to do with time travel itself. The recruitment process for the Red Mask people could be White Rose saying, hey, do you regret things? Join Dark Army. But again, this is all speculation. I've got no proof that it doesn't work, and since this video is pretty long, I feel obligated to inform you once again that I am a retard. Next episode, R. Elliot killing real Elliot to steal Angela is one of the most twisted things I've ever seen, and you know I love it. Oh, and Dom jerking it to Darlene in the interrogation room is real fucked up too. I don't know how I skipped over that. In the finale, we get the big twist that's been coming for a while.
Something is going on with you, Elliot. You have not been the same the past couple of months, and this happened before Shayla.
The fellow we've been following is a personality called Mastermind, not the real Elliot Alderson. Shout out to this random comment on a podcast calling the ending 4 years in advance. You deserve a Big Mac or something. MR.ROBOT is known about Mastermind and wanted to defeat Evil Corp as quickly as possible so he could give back control to the real Elliot.
He was in prison. Just like you are now, Elliot. I'm gonna break you out.
The idea that the guy we've been bonding with this whole time isn't even a real person made me feel empty at first, but I've kind of come around on it. Mastermind's experiences were real, and rewatching the show, I don't see anything that contradicts this twist. But one thing I don't understand is why Mastermind accepted he's just a personality so quickly. He goes from this,
if you wake up, you'll just be stealing Elliot's life again.
My life. It always will be.
to this in only a few minutes. I feel like a more realistic ending would be if Mastermind was confronted, then went into a state of denial and permanently stole Elliot's life. Then the last shot of the series could be real Elliot wakes up in the loop again and takes a shower while the camera pans out. Instead, Mastermind gives up control and we get a speech about how we can all change the world, which I think is bullshit. Mastermind was able to change things because he had best-in-class hacking skills.
Best coder I've ever met.
And he had all this rage to give him the motivation to go through with it. When the real Elliot absorbs all the memories from Mastermind, he may eventually have a healthy life, but he's probably gonna at least have PTSD. The real Elliot loved Angela, and she's dead. Mastermind and Darlene got quite a few people killed, and Elliot Prime will most likely know about that. He may be able to do mental gymnastics and put it behind him, or it could completely destroy him. So again, the speech at the end doesn't really fit to me. That being said, I still believe the highs of MR.ROBOT outweigh any of the cons or nitpicks I presented here. I also think the consistently great acting, writing, music, cinematography, and overall story make it the best thing I've ever seen, and technically speaking, it's still not over. Not all of the ARG puzzles have been solved, so you can hang out with the people trying to work it out on our ARG Society. There's also a mysterious comic book series that was supposed to premiere before season 4 that served as a prequel to the show, but there's been no news since the announcement. In my opinion, it's probably dead in the water, but I did want to mention it. If you're wondering what Sam thinks of his own series in hindsight, he made a thread on the subreddit ranking everything. He did Season 2, number 1, Season 4, number 2, Season 3, number 3, and Season 1, number 4. I highly disagree with this list and think that Season 3 is the best, but he made the show, so I'll let him slide. There's also a list of his top 10 favorite episodes. Starting from the bottom, we got Season 2, Episode 10, Season 3, Episode 5, Season 4, Episode 5, Season 3, Episode 6, why so low? Season 3, Episode 8, Season 2, Episode 7, Season 4, Episode 7, Season 3, Episode 3, hell yeah, Season 2, Episode 5, and Sam Ismail's #1 favorite episode is Season 1, Episode 4. That is our show, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave a comment here or message me on Discord. Like and subscribe for more KW quality content, and I'll see you on the next one.
When they kill all the tigers in the Holocaust.
Why did you give CEO to that Nordic bitch Wellick?
I'll call you a car.
Don't fucking touch me.
Terry.
I mean it. You put another claw on me and I swear to God.
You'll do what?
You'll fucking find out.
Exactly. Come on.
Yeah. You're lucky. You never had children. Trust me. Nothing in the world brings you more pain. You had it right from the start. It's all about power. Nothing else matters. I should have followed in your footsteps. If I wasn't so goddamn weak.
I was pushed out, Terry.
What?
Yeah. You got it all backwards. I got pushed out.
Wasn't even allowed to pick my successor. Spent my whole life working my way to the top of that building, floor by floor. I look back now and sometimes it's all I can see. Blocks out everything else, like an eclipse. Frosted glass, a mold-resistant carpet, a tufted leather, executive chairs. It's funny how the mind works. Power was an illusion they sold me. I ponied up with decades, with my own flesh and blood. Never even realized the power I was wielding wasn't coming from me. I was incidental, as like some pliant vessel. Power was in the chair the whole time. It'll still be in the chair after all this is over. There's nothing I can do now to go back, change any of it. All that's left for me is to draw as much blood as I can before it ends. That's not power, Terry. That's desolation.
Huh?
Never mind. I'll have my housekeeper call your car.
Hey, Philip.
Terry?
Would you mind putting in a good word for me with Wallach? I mean, I don't know, maybe I can get my old job back. He always liked me, didn't he?
No, Terry. He didn't.
Yeah, where you apparently diddle yourself to my interrogation videos.
That was private.
Fucked up is what it was.
You're a bitch.
You're a perv.
I gotta be honest, Tyrell. You're not the most stable partner.
Yeah, you're one to talk. You're a little unhinged, too. Both of you.
Här är min son, är han på ditt rum?
Ja. New York ved juletid. Ja, jeg plejede altid at tage Joanna med, da hun var barn. Legetøj hos F.R.O. Schwartz og te på Plaza. Rockets i Radio City. Men det, som hun bedst kunne lide, det, der gjorde hende virkelig glad, det var at sidde på en bænk i parken og spise kastanjer fra gadesælgere.
Det har sagt den også gärna, men jeg er her for...
Selv var jeg jo ikke så vild med den. De duftede langt bedre, end de smagte, men Joanna, det gør mig glad at tænke på hendes lykke.
Okay, nu slutpratat. Ta mig upp till min son nu, okay?
Nå, men han er her ikke.
Hvad snakker du om? Hvor er han?
Ja. Det er sen aften på Vesterbro, og hans bedstemor er sikkert videre. Og varme en flaske mælk til ham, inden hun vugger ham i søvn.
Nej. Han skal bo her med mig nu.
Jeg vil være ærlig. Ja, eftersom vi er familie. Eller er vi stadig familie? Altså nu, hvor Joanna er død. Er du så stadig min svigersøn?
Vi havde en överenskommelse, eller hur?
Og jeg ville også have taget med, ja. Jeg stod med ham, mens jeg ventede på min vogn ud til lufthavnen. Så jeg ned i hans lille ansigt. Hans klare blå øjne. Og selvom han er smuk, i det øjeblik skræmte hans ansigt mig. Og jeg vidste hvorfor. Jeg så en afspejling af dig. Jeg vil aldrig tillade, at mit barnebarn bliver som dig.
Ja, eftersom jag släppt på artigheterna så vill jag ju vara ärlig med dig också, Peter. Jag är långt jävla mycket mer galen än vad du är. Jag har dödat människor. Jag har njutit av att döda människor. Men att få döda dig, det har varit en livslång jävla dröm för mig. Så jag föreslår att vi löser det här med lite hövlighet. Du ger tillbaka mitt barn. För du vet precis lika väl som jag att du kommer att förlora det här eftersom din värsta mardröm äntligen har blivit sann. Jag har så mycket mer makt än vad du har.
Det siger du jo. Du har sikkert også fået en eller anden fin titel. Men jeg har langt flere penge. Og hvad angår indflydelse, så er der allerede afgjort ved en dansk domstol. Du kommer aldrig til at se din søn igen. Ligesom jeg ikke kommer til at se Joanna igen.
Jag skapade ett liv för Joanna, vår son. Jag byggde en framtid för oss.
Hvad? Hvad er du? Du er bange. Du er bange for ikke at være god nok. Det er frygten, der driver alt, hvad du gør. Din fremfusende, impulsive adfærd. Men lad mig gøre det helt klart. Du er ikke god nok. Og jeg vidste lige siden den dag, Joanna tog dig med hjem. Det er da ikke din fejl, Tyrell. Jamen, du blev bare født sådan som en ringere mand. Det er hvem og hvad du er. Din kærlighed. Se på dig selv. Prøv at slå en gammel mand. Du beviser jo, at jeg har ret. Du er rådden. Og du vil altid være rådden. Joanna var alt for god til dig.
Men det är inte över. Jag kommer att få min son. Om du tror att du kan komma hit bara för att håna mig.
Jeg kom da ikke på grund af dig. kom på grund af kastanjerne.